Which football club has the best fans? Modern football is all about here we go, superstars on the pitch and shiny silverware. But you know what? If a club doesn't have passionate fans in the stadium, they can have all the world-class players. They do not interest me. I care about the people who are always behind their club no matter what. Real emotions, atmosphere, choreos, pyro shows, chants. I've made it my mission to find the best football fans on the entire planet. That's why over the last years I've been traveling Europe's stadiums, and in 2023-24, so many insane things have happened, and to put this all together, I've decided to make this video ranking all fan bases I've seen last season, from worst atmosphere all the way to the very best. The rules are only club football, no national teams, so the Euro games do not count, and I only include clubs where I've watched a home game in their stadium in 2023-24. We start with the worst club, place 21, and that is already a big club, to be more precise, the biggest football club in the world. I'm sorry to all Madrid fans, but you have to understand this is not a dig at Real Madrid, it's just natural that as the biggest football institution in this world with a global reach, obviously the Bernabeu, especially after its renovation now, pulls in an insane number of tourists. It is an incredible feeling when you go watch a game there, and I even watched it with Zidane in his private lounge, which was, I still can't believe what happened there. But I knew from the very start that this was not gonna be the craziest, wildest atmosphere with pyro, with flares, with non-stop chants that we see at many other smaller clubs. And this is what other Madrid fans, even locals from Madrid, have even confirmed to me as well. Madridistas, they don't come to Bernabeu to push their club. They come there to be entertained with superstars, big wins and crazy skills. And if they don't get that, they're disappointed and stay silent. Not really what we would define as a good fan base with unconditional support. In place 20, not really much better, it is Tottenham. You know, I went there in January for a Premier League game, and to be fair, I got exactly what I expected. Crazy food options, wild light shows before the games with music. It's an event to go there. And that's exactly what it felt like. I experienced the atmosphere as rather corporate and dead silent for the most part. So if you want to see pretty good football in London and a state-of-the-art ground, go there. But if you want loud fans in London, I'd rather suggest you to go to Palace, West Ham or Millwall. Now on 19, this is the first club where I was really, genuinely disappointed. Because I made a poll and asked what is the best fan base in Spanish football? Which club is worth visiting? And you guys overwhelmingly told me Real Betis. Go there, man. Visit. Well, I did exactly that and I was shocked. Honestly, negatively. The Estadio Benito Villamarín is nice. A big historical ground. I think it fits about 60k fans. But of this huge number, the really active supporters that support all game and sing, you can count them on one hand. Okay, that's exaggeration, but maybe 500, and even they barely sang, to be fair. I missed the passion, the spark that everybody told me about. Lots of people told me, Betis, best fans in Spain. They come just before kickoff, eat their sunflower seeds, and after final whistle, they immediately leave. For me, this is not even the best fan base in Sevilla, because I went to FC Sevilla against Dortmund. They were much better. But before we now get to the really good atmospheres, many of you constantly ask me, yo, Fiago, how do you follow all the leagues and decide what stadiums you want to visit? And the truth there is that I mostly use OneFootball to stay up to date with all the leagues, all the teams that I still have on my list to witness in stadiums, because they have all the news, all the stats, all the games, the schedules for every league in the world, basically. Also the more underrated ones, that's where mostly the good fans are. And that's why I'm really happy to say that OneFootball is the sponsor of this video. There literally couldn't have been any better fit for this. I've been using it since 2014. I still remember downloaded it during the World Cup in Brazil, and I still use it. And many don't know this, but they even live stream some interesting leagues with a lot of good fan bases. So if you don't use OneFootball yet, I strongly suggest you to hit my link in the description and download it for free. But now onto the first club where I say it wasn't really bad. In 18th place, we have Freiburg. You know, the club just emerged recently, we're talking last decade, as a real top half Bundesliga team. And the fan base is still rather new and young. The main ultra group is just a few years old as well. They do make some good noise, some good chants, but I feel like they still have to build that heritage, that chemistry that other more historical clubs in German football possess. So the atmosphere cannot be compared to the big guys in Germany, but that might change in the next decades. Next up in the ranking, Luton Town. I was really positively surprised by my experience at Kenilworth Road. I got to watch Premier League football in this iconic ground, and you really feel like it's not meant to be a Premier League stadium. That is the exact charm about Luton Town. That's usually only found in the lower tiers of English football, where now they're back in the Championship. Obviously not many tourists either, I was one of the only ones. So it's mostly the locals pushing their team there, and they do have great passion. But after all, it was still a Premier League atmosphere, meaning you don't get constant chants, obviously no ultras, no flares, not possible in the Prem. So I couldn't really rank it close to the top 10, but I really enjoyed it in Luton. In 16th place, we have a club that barely failed to make the Bundesliga this season, Fortuna Düsseldorf. You know, even though Düsseldorf are a historical side, they always used to have like a dead atmosphere in the last years. The stadium is really big, 54,000 capacity, and they could never fill it. But they are a big city, and they've made good efforts in the last years to get the fan base back behind the team. For example, through the project Fortuna for All, where they make some home games free to attend. And a good sporting development on the pitch as well, so now the stadium is is getting fuller and also louder. But of course, still not comparable to the best in Germany. Now we're entering the top 15, and this is a club very close to Düsseldorf and also my local club. You can say I ride my bike to go to the stadium there, Borussia Mönchengladbach. 10 years ago, when I went to the stadium regularly with my dad, who had a season ticket there, Gladbach would have easily found their way into a German top 10. But I know all my Gladbach fans deep down, they do agree with me here. Gladbach fan base, the atmosphere in the Borussia Park, it's just not what it used to be anymore. And partly I understand, because over the last years the club's gone downhill on the pitch, the players have mostly lacked passion, but on the other hand, many other clubs have been facing the same problems, even getting relegated and bottling every season. But their fans are still on point. In 2024, I have to say, Gladbach still has an alright atmosphere. It is a big historical club, but really the experience at the Borussia Park, compared to many other clubs in the region, is just nothing special anymore. We keep it up with the German clubs, and in 14th place, we have the biggest of them, Bayern. I don't really think I have to explain this, but the same problem as Real Madrid, just not to this crazy extent. Bayern is a global club with global fan base, and the experience at the Allianz Arena is very, very touristy. And this is by no means a front against international fans, because many people often get this wrong whenever I say this. We appreciate you in Germany, but it's also normal that these fans tend to not know the local chants as well, especially when they're in German language, and thus they don't contribute as much, effectively reducing the atmosphere. The Südkurve München, the ultras of Bayern, are insane, maybe even top 5 in Germany, but the rest of the stadium is mostly full of so-called event fans. In 13, we have the small club from Hamburg that are now, yeah, I have to admit that, the best club from Hamburg. I watched them at home when I was away with HSV at the Hamburg Derby last season, and they had a really beautiful choreo, a great pyro show, and also pretty good support throughout most of the match. Even though I still have to say our away fans still outsang them. Don't get me wrong, they're still a very good fan base, and I'm trying to not be biased here, but from what I hear internationally, from many global fans who like to wear the merch with a skull, or St. Pauli there, the working class club with the roughest atmosphere, it's just not true anymore, but Millantor still worth a visit, especially with Bundesliga football now. Now to 12th place, there is quite a big gap in my opinion, and this is Stuttgart. 12th doesn't really do them justice, but what we get from now is just a lot of really amazing fan bases, so they had to fit in somewhere. Stuttgart's Cannstatter Kurve is one of the best and loudest ultra stands in Germany, but I watched a game against Wolfsburg and I can only judge what I watched, and that wasn't really the craziest match maybe, compared to many teams higher up where I watched their derbies or special games. But trust me guys, Stuttgart is loud, and especially now in UCL, their fans will impress. Now in 11th, I put a smaller German side, VfL Bochum. And that was really hard for me to put them above Stuttgart, but hear me out, I think Bochum is underrated. Because in North Rhine-Westphalia, in the west of Germany, we have clubs like Dortmund, Schalke, Gladbach, Köln, and Bochum are just right there in the middle of it, in the Ruhrgebiet. So international Bundesliga fans always seem to forget them. They have a smaller stadium as well, less than 30k, the Ruhrstadion, and their city is not the nicest, the club anthem even deals with this topic, but that's exactly what gives a Bochum home game its charm. It is a really rough atmosphere, proper working class with 100% support. If you want to watch a game in the west of Germany and you manage to get tickets, I can only recommend Bochum. Now, we're entering our sacred top 10, and we start this off with a club that many international fans call the best atmosphere in the world. I have to step in there and say it's just not true, but they're still very good. In 10th place, we have Borussia Dortmund. Don't get me wrong, watching the Yellow Wall in person in this 80,000 plus Westfalenstadion is an experience that every true football fan should do once in their life. About 25,000 people in one single stand, the biggest stand in the world of football, the Yellow Wall. But the thing is, it's not what it used to be 10 years ago. The participation rate in the Yellow Wall, like the people who actually chant, basically just this little square in the middle of the Yellow Wall. I even made a dedicated video just about this. So probably in 2013, Dortmund was number 1 in Germany in terms of fans. Now, I think not really anymore. I have to say I enjoy it more in Köln, the club that the German side of my family supports, and even though sadly Köln got relegated to the second Bundesliga now, their atmosphere is unbelievable. Strong contrast to Dortmund, the Südkurve, their ultra stand in Köln, has one of the highest participation rates. When they sing, when they jump, it is basically everybody, the whole stand, and it gets so damn loud. Also, the club anthem, in my opinion, the best anthem of any football club in the entire planet. It always gives me goosebumps. Slightly above Köln comes another second Bundesliga team. You see, this league has a lot of good fan bases. We're talking about Dortmund's biggest enemy, Schalke. Last season I went there for 2 games as well, against Hamburg, away with my club, and there they were a bit more quiet. However, against a smaller club from Hamburg, St. Pauli, where Schalke won, that experience was just unforgettable. When the Schalker Nordkurve jumps and chants when they sing their Steigerlied, their famous song, wow, it's just a very special feeling. And I didn't even watch any of their derbies because obviously they don't play against Dortmund right now. But I imagine that is top notch. Schalke, a strong recommendation. Now let's, for 7th place, we move out of Germany and go to Scotland. I went to the Old Firm at Celtic Park with my friend David, who is a Celtic enjoyer. The fan culture over there is just, when they sang You Never Walk Alone, I have to say, I witnessed witnessed it in Liverpool. I witnessed it several times in Dortmund. And you can trust me, lads, this was the loudest You Never Walk Alone I've heard. And during the game, it wouldn't stop. You know, I would describe Celtic fans as a mix of UK fans, reactionary with really loud reactions and limbs, to good tackles, dribblings and goals. But also they do have some elements of European ultras with some pyro, some chants every now and then. If you ever have the chance, get yourself to Celtic Park. It's worth it. In 6th place, this might be a very surprising inclusion for many of you, another second Bundesliga team. I am putting Hannover. See, as I said, I can only judge what I witnessed myself, and even though Hannover might not be 6th place if I had just watched a regular game there, but I didn't. Instead, I watched perhaps the most violent German derby there is. Also made a video about that one. Hannover against Braunschweig. And these guys, they just hate each other. It's just pure hate. The craziest pyro show I've witnessed in my entire life. They kept shooting fireworks and rockets to each other. The away end and the home end. This was one of those where I never expected it to be this wild. And I was just really positively surprised. It's just insanity and not really talked about outside of Germany. Now, we're entering our top 5. And this is the club you've all been waiting for all this video. May I introduce to you Hamburg. I know some people will say, okay, Fiago, you're biased, ranking Hamburg on 5th place above all these other big German clubs. But hear me out, this club has been bottling everything on the pitch there is to bottle for almost a decade now, where most other fan bases would have said, okay, the attendance would have decreased, the fan support wouldn't have been as wild. The opposite is the case. We just had our highest ever stadium attendance in club history, even though that was technically our worst ever season in club history. It doesn't make sense, but this is how things work at Hamburg. The worse the team gets, the crazier the fan support. I don't even have to explain this. Just make your way to the Volksparkstadion with the context of this club in mind and embrace the atmosphere. Now, we've had a lot of Germany, but what if I tell you that our top 4 consists of a grand total of 0 German clubs? On 4th place, just barely missing out a podium spot, FC Copenhagen. Hamburg's Danish friends are just incredible. I witnessed the derby against Brøndby, made a video there as well, and Section 12, the Ultras of Copenhagen, they are so strong. In that game, there was a jumping ban because there were some problems with the architecture of the stadium. The club feared that the stand would actually break, but still these guys did not stop singing, lighting pyro and just going crazy for a single second. I was there even pitch side. I got to work with the club, which was amazing. So we stood very close to the ultras, so close we actually felt the heat of the pyro and the noise was right in our ears. Oh, it was just beautiful. And now we get to the podium. Bronze medal in our atmosphere ranking 2023-24 goes to a Czech club, Sparta Praha. I watched their city derby against Slavia and Stadion Letna is very small, about 20,000 capacity and extremely old as well, but that gives it its unique charm. The ultras are wild, but at Sparta, contrary to many other clubs, it's not just the ultras who sing all game. It is basically the whole stadium. I was on the pitch and got to wave a flag when they sang their club anthem. I still get goosebumps when I talk about this because it was just a mental feeling. It got so loud. They had wild pyro shows as well, of course, big choreo. And to put it into context, this is just a quarter of the number of fans that we have at Bernabeu, but they are much louder. So Sparta, definitely worth a visit, and Prague as a city is insane as well. Now, are we ready for our 2nd place? Silver medal goes to a club that was actually on track to win this whole thing for a majority of the season. It is the coolest club in Greece, Panathinaikos. I went to 2 of their games this season, one at their home stadium and one in the Olympic Stadium of Athens. Champions League playoffs against Braga. They filled this stadium, about 70,000 Panathinaikos fans in there, and even though obviously the stadium has a running track, which always reduces the noise level because you're so far from the pitch and fans are not as close together, in this match I experienced my loudest moment of the entire season 2023-24 when all 70,000 started shouting. Gate 13, the ultras of Panathinaikos are just madness. They constantly produce a green hell for their opponents, and I am definitely 100% coming back this season. This was, by the way, the first game I watched last season, and for many months I thought it can't be topped. But then in February, I watched a game at actually a friend club of Panathinaikos, also a green club. The winner of my atmosphere ranking 2023-24 is Rapid Wien. If you haven't heard of the Wiener Derby in Vienna, watch this video. I still don't really have words to describe this. I went to Vienna with pretty high expectations. I knew Rapid Wien against Austria Wien was gonna be very loud. It's a massive rivalry between the 2 biggest clubs in Austria. But what I didn't know is that Rapid Ultras literally sing for 90 minutes. This was the most pyro, the most flares I've ever witnessed in a single match. And despite the fact that stadium only fits a bit more than 20,000 fans, it got so loud. loud. To an extent, I probably have to say the wildest Bundesliga derby is not in Germany. It is in the Austrian Bundesliga. And that was it, lads. My honest atmosphere ranking 2024. Let me know where I should go in 2024-25. I have some really interesting clubs on my list that I haven't seen yet, but give me your suggestions in the comments as well. Like up each other's comments. If a comment has enough likes on it, this tells me that you want to see it and I will go there. Don't forget to download OneFootball for free, especially if you now want to follow some of these underrated clubs from this ranking. I hope to see you guys in many stadiums 2024-25. Don't forget to subscribe, and for now, Fiago is out. Peace.